In the green light. We are going. Okay, we've been hitting up that chat box. Now, one last question for you guys in that chat box. Have you ever looked at blood work? Yes or no? Does blood work scare you? Is it intimidating? Nina's yes. Dr. Neil's yes. Rocky, yes. Shay's yes. Melissa's yes. Heather's yes. So many people are looking at blood work. That's awesome. A little doesn't scare me, but I need to learn more. Cool. Okay. I want to start off with my secret announcement. Now, I've had so many people reach out and say, when can we meet you in person? Guess what, y'all? Mark the dates because it's happening in Orlando, Florida next year. Let me share this. At the Wyndham Grand Orlando, Florida Resort, February 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The event is going to be called In This Together Live. I will be hosting it. So come join us. We'll have a lot more details coming in September when registration will begin. But mark the dates. It's a Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday. Because if you're like me, you can fly in your family at the latter half of the week and have a vacation in Florida in February. Because who doesn't want to go to Florida in February? The conference, though, is going to be more than a conference. It is going to be a freaking party. It's going to be a show that blows up your business. So if you are thinking about one event to attend next year, attend this one because I'm going to bring you the best experts in mindset, business, and marketing. And I already have some of them lined up, and they're some of the best in the world. So it's happening, and I'm freaking stoked. Who else is stoked? In-person conference that's not being hosted by a supplement company. It's being hosted by me. So I'm going to bring in the best in the world to you guys. Let me know in that chat box, yes or no. You better all say yes. You're excited because I'm excited too. And I've been working my guts out to pull this off. So Gail's excited. Yes. Melissa's excited. Awesome. Nicole's excited. That's my big secret. It's out. You guys, literally, this is the first, well, besides my inner circle group yesterday, they heard it first. But now you know, I'm hosting an event, an in-person event where we can give each other hugs. I love the virtual thing, but it's about time we give each other hugs and we celebrate our successes. Not only are we going to bring in the best mindset business and marketing coaches, but we are going to have parties Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. It's going to be a party. And the reason why is because I want to celebrate every single one of us. We all have something to celebrate. And we're going to celebrate that at the conference. I don't even want to call it a conference. I want to call it an event or show because, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay, here we go. Details are coming. So I really don't have much more than that to tell you guys, but just know February 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we're going to do an evening gala on the Monday night and then speakers Tuesday and Wednesday. So you can fly in the Monday and then you can fly out Thursday. Don't be leaving early on Wednesday because you'll miss good stuff. Okay, now that's out. That's out of the box. Are we ready to get into the CBC? Angel's shaking her head. Yes, we are ready. Now, here's the thing with this. I'm going to teach you guys the entire CBC. And the reason why I want to do that is because I usually just do the 5 markers, the neutrophil, lymphocyte, those big important markers. But the CBC tells us some very important things in the red blood cell counts as well. So I'm going to go through this and we're going to do it probably in the next 30 minutes-ish. If you have a question, please put your question in the chat box and where I'm going to go back and review it after I'm done. But I don't want to be scattered about answering questions and then teaching at the same time. So let me teach and let me lock this in for you guys. And then we'll get to questions. So if you have questions, get in that chat box and we'll go back through the chat. You can even raise your hand. So if you go down to the bottom toolbar there, I believe it's on the participant section where you have like a little hand you can raise, and we'll bring you up on the feed afterwards, after I teach. We're going to be here for 90 minutes. So we have extra time rather than just 60. We have some extra time to go over questions. Yeah, it's in the reaction section. There you go. The reaction button on the bottom of your toolbar, there's a hand that you can raise, and I can see your hand. Then when we're done, I can bring you in and I can spotlight you so we can see everybody. But welcome, guys. How was that introduction? You guys ever been on a workshop with me? Because energy is up level, it's high. And that's how I would recommend you guys host your workshops too. Bring in a song, get some music going, get people in that chat box. And one of the easiest ways to get people involved on your workshops that you can host just like mine. In fact, you can take the CBC, take a few markers of it. I'm going to teach you them right now. And then you can go host a workshop and teach people how to read their own blood work just the same. Don't worry about copying me. Like, I want you guys to be successful. And I know what this did to my practice. I want it to do the same to your practice because there are so many people out there who need our help. And the more we are all successful, the more everybody's getting help. So I'll give you a tidbit here. When you host your next live workshop, ask people to get in the chat box and have them tell you where they're from. It's very, very easy for people to get in and say, I'm from here, I'm from here. And it just gets people excited. You get them participating. And it's an objective question where they're not going to hesitate to answer. So mark that in your notes there. There's your tidbit. The one question you should ask on any of your live workshops is, where are you from? I made a lot of mistakes asking a lot of other questions. Don't do that. Just ask that question. Okay, here we go. CBC. In fact, because you guys are the practitioners, let me pull up my template here and we'll just use it rather than a whiteboard. I'm going to save the good part till the end. We're going to get into kind of not really the boring part, but it is kind of boring. It's just not as exciting as it. Neutrophil, lymphocyte, those markers. Mindy, can you hear me or is there sound problems? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me good. Okay. It would be bad if I didn't have my good audio. Okay, Ange, can you see this screen? Okay. So this is a cheat guide that I use because it's really easy. But these are all the markers inside the CBC. And this is the CBC with differential. So when I say CBC, it stands for complete blood cell count. And it is the #1 lab test any doctor will take. Now, here's the cool part. Anybody can read blood work. I mean, I teach the public how to read their blood work in my book. And it really puts the power into their hands, and it's going to put the power into your hands because so many people, you guys all know this, they get told their blood work is normal, yet they feel like crap, and then they're going to Google to try to figure out what the heck's going on. When you can actually teach them, you know what, you might have crazy joint pain and RA, you might have crazy fatigue, you might have thyroid issues, but the bottom line is you're really fighting a bacterial infection causing that joint pain. You're really fighting a viral infection causing the chronic fatigue. And parasites seem to be a hot topic. So you can determine with this blood test if you should attack those parasites or not. That's all coming in the fun part though. The boring part are the red blood cell count, the hemoglobin count, the hematocrit, the MCV, the MCH, the MCHC. So this marker right here, red blood cell count, all the way down to the MCHC. These are all markers for red blood cells and what they look like, what their size is, what their texture is, and a couple different other markers. So I'm not going to get into the details of that with you, but just know these are all part of the red blood cells. So as you can see, there's a couple different ranges here for females and males. Now, these ranges I got from Dr. Datis Karazian, and I use his ranges for these specific markers. These are going to be different than the lab test ranges. So just note that you're going to get a lab test and they're going to be different ranges than this. This is the functional range, as determined by Dr. Datis Karazin. I've manipulated a few other ones based off of the thousands of labs I've seen, but I stick with these red blood cell markers. Okay, so here's your rule of thumb. If any one of these markers, red blood cell, hemoglobin, hematocrit, MCV, MCH, and MCHC, if any one of those markers are high, you're going to think B vitamins. Now, standard thought is B12 specifically, and a lack of B12 and B vitamins. I have seen so many individuals who are on B vitamins, whether they're taking them through supplements or they're getting IV therapy from them, that their markers are still elevated. So I like to call this B vitamin methylation. How well is the body using B vitamins? And there's a difference in that. This is not a quantity or how much B vitamins they have. This is amount. This is this scenario of, can their body use the B vitamins that it has? Now, when I explain this to patients or to the general public in a social media post, I say, B vitamin methylation, what that means is when we eat B vitamins, those B vitamins that we're eating has to go through this process to go from edible to a usable form in which our body can utilize them. That process we call methylation. So it explains to them in simple terms. Okay. So this is your body telling me that you might have all the B vitamins in the world, but it has a really hard time knowing what to do with them. Now, you all are all practitioners, so a lot of times you're going to hear that gene, MTHFR. Now, flashback 5 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago, in my opinion, MTHFR genetic mutation was being diagnosed like fibromyalgia, and just was the thing to explain everything, all the problems. And it was a cheapskate. It was this is why you had this problem. And the reason what happened after this was so many people were taking methylated B vitamins. Now that you can do that if you would like. What I prefer is I want to give the body the ingredients it needs to take the B vitamins that we're already getting and use them better. And the way I do that is with a supplement called MORS, MORS. It's from Systemic Formulas. So I actually give them this versus B vitamins. Gosh, can't spell. So anytime I have any one of these 6 markers elevated, I'm going to think, okay, the body's having a hard time with utilizing the B vitamins. I'm going to give them MORS. And if they need B vitamins, 16B is the supplement that I can combine with it. Now, 16B is one of the best, if not the best supplements in the world. And don't get paid to say this, guys. I'm just telling you, because it has more B vitamins than I even knew existed. Like B18, B19, B20. I didn't know those things existed and I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition, until I found Systemic Formulas. So you can combine that and just know that it is so powerful and so potent that if the patient is dehydrated, they are going to experience a niacin flush with just like 2 capsules. So I start off with 1 capsule of a 16B so it doesn't like flip them into a niacin flush. And if they do experience it, tell them to drink lots and lots of water. I experienced this the first time I took it, and my husband was like, better go pound the water. And I did, and it took it away. So anything high with the red blood cell count all the way down to the MCHC. Now, low markers. If any of them are low, we're going to think iron. And I will go to battle with practitioners and doctors of all backgrounds with this because I have seen so many indicators inside an iron panel of low iron that are not found inside the exact same blood work from the same individual inside their CBC. And standard process, standard thinking, I should say, is you don't run an iron panel unless the CBC indicates it. So if you're running blood work, always, always, always run an iron panel. It has a lot more to it than what these guys will tell you. But if you see any indicators that are low, think iron. Now, the best way as far as treatment for iron is first diet. Get more iron in their diet. I always like to say, hey, do you want to eat some liver? No, I don't want to eat liver. Then red meat's the best option. As far as dietary concerns, if they're vegetarian, work around that and get them some great vegetarian sources of iron. No, iron is in my very first step of treatment. You have to have iron, sufficient amounts of iron inside the blood because iron is required to get oxygen to every single cell in the body. So often you will hear of people going to some hormone clinic because it's really easy to sell hormone stuff. They get put on testosterone, they get put on estrogen, they get put on whatever thyroid medication they feel like putting people on. And it might work from their chronic fatigue for a little while, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months if they're lucky. And then they all resort back to the same symptoms. They go back to, I have chronic fatigue still, I'm having to take a nap. In fact, I had one patient who I gave her questionnaire and it came out to be like 16, like some ridiculously low number. And her labs were awful. Her iron status was some of the worst I've ever seen with a ferritin down at 10, but that's another story. And she's like, well, I don't feel tired. I just take a nap every afternoon. Right? You guys hear this? That's not normal, actually. What if what if you're able to take your kids out to the park after school instead of having to take the nap? So iron's a big deal. Make sure you incorporate that into the plan and do it in the beginning of their treatment plan. So you got iron, you have supplementation, and the supplements I use, I often have recommended Pharaoh Food from Standard Process, or I have recommended Hemivite Plus from Apex Energetics. I like Hemivite Plus preferably because it's less straining on the GI tract, because iron can actually cause stomach issues as well. So that's what you're going to learn from all of these markers, red blood cell count all the way down to the MCHC. If it's elevated, think B vitamin methylation. If it's low, think iron. Okay. Now, here's what you're going to find more often than not. You're going to have the combination of both. You're going to see a couple markers or maybe one marker that's elevated and another marker that's depressed, or some type of variation of the two between the 6 markers. Treat them both. Give them MORS, give them iron, really simple adjustments to make, but that's from the CBC. Okay. Now, how are we so far? Give me a thumbs up, say great in the chat. Thumbs up. Okay. Shay's fantastic. Alex, great. Dr. Ange, great. Melissa's great. Awesome. There's a few questions here that before we jump on, if the client is taking them, but B vitamins are not coming up. So MORS and 16B, if the B vitamins are not increasing, let's start going into the digestive tract and making sure their GI tract is absorbing it. Melissa, it may just need to be longer term, higher dose. Patient is on MORS and the test still came back high. How long does the patient need to take it? I typically have people on Moors for 3 months, and I'll do 2 capsules or even 2 capsules in the morning and 2 capsules at night. How would you know if someone is deficient in B vitamins? The only way to know specifically, Mindy, is to take a multivitamin mineral test. They have those through Vibrant America, but it's really simple to just treat it because there's no harm in giving people B vitamins. They'll just pee them out. And when you see bright yellow fluorescent urine, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm just losing all my B vitamins." No, it's okay. You're still getting what you need, and the body is getting rid of whatever else is there. So there's no harm in giving it. They are water soluble vitamins. Any difference for those that their red blood cell counts are low because of kidney function? Um, Possibly, but I still give iron. Dr. Nils, I would give iron and then I would support with kidney function support supplements like KS or K from systemic formulas. So just support the kidneys. And you can even do, guys, I love this. You can use liquid homeopathics, or you can do liquid K or KS from systemic formulas and just take that liquid and apply it topically over their low back kidney area. That way it's less things going through their GI tract, which is awesome. And people love it, not having to take tons of pills. Okay. One of the best ways to raise your iron naturally is cooking on pure iron pots and pans, not cast iron because it has some undesirable metals. Dr. Stephen, if you can find us a link to buy those pots and pans, I would be curious because I use cast iron at home. And I can only imagine the price of those things, but hey, it's our health. Yeah, and there's never, if when in doubt, treat both. And I would do iron and B vitamins for 3 months, and that might trickle over into their gut stuff. Patients absolutely feel a difference when taking Moors. I agree, especially energy levels. I have so many people say Moors is great for energy. And then when you talk about this stuff too, people want to care. Why do they care about B vitamin methylation? I don't care about my B vitamins. I mean, if my body doesn't use them, there's probably a reason why it's not using them. You say this. There's a reason why B vitamins are included in every single energy drink known to mankind. Because B vitamins are required for your body to take food and convert it into energy in the Krebs cycle. Don't have to go through the Krebs cycle with them, but just tell them, this is why you care. Your body needs B vitamins to take food and convert it into energy. Now they're listening because they want even more energy. So to do the 3 months before initiating a viral or bacterial protocol, Val, it's up to the patient or it's up to you. I typically do month 2 and 3 of bacterial and viral stuff. So it trickles over into that support, especially if they're depleted in iron, they're going to need more than 1 month. So 3 would be great. I even have people who are on Hemivite Plus and then they get off of it and they would rather be on it. So then they just order more from my website and they just take that daily as part of their maintenance regimen. And I tell people, well, when they ask you, what if I need more of it? Well, the only way to know is if you go off and you don't feel as good as you were when you went on it, and then you'll know. You'll just have to order some more. Bam. Okay, iron, B vitamins. First step in treatment plans for me, as well as vitamin D. I make sure that vitamin D is above 80. I know people will say 50 to 60. No, I want it above 80, especially if they're fighting any type of autoimmune. Okay. Now, RDW and platelets, I'm not going to get into those because that's not a simple answer. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the white blood cell count. And this white blood cell count, I talk a lot about this one marker on podcasts as a guest. If you guys want to build your client base by leveraging other people's audiences, get on podcasts. And a simple place to start, write this down. podcastguests with an S.com. Now, that one's a paid version, but if you think about it, if you're paying $19 a month in marketing, what have you got to lose? And that is where I have received several requests to join people on their podcast. And it's just really simple because it's much easier for people to reach out to you and then have your name in a place where hosts of podcasts like myself can use that as a way to get guests. So podcastguests.com. Again, I don't get anything from telling you guys. I just want you guys to have more successful practice. So I'm telling you what I've been doing. And this white blood cell count is a favorite marker to talk about because it's really easy to talk about, whether you're a guest on a podcast or whether you're doing a reel on Instagram. You got 30 seconds. So tell people, the biggest hidden cause of chronic fatigue is our underlying infections. You can actually know if you're fighting one of these right now. Go grab your blood work and look for this marker called WBC. If your marker falls outside of 5 to 8, the range 5 to 8, you're fighting a low-grade infection. Boom, there's your reel. There's your TikTok video. It will blow up. Try it. Because people will go grab their labs, and then they'll say, oh my heck, they'll comment. My white blood cell count was 4.8. My white blood cell count was 7.2. My white blood cell count was 11.3. Oh my gosh, my doctor's been telling me my white blood cell count has been low for years, and that's just normal for me. Well, now you know what's causing it. And then you might want to caveat, but don't go tell your doctor this because they'll laugh at you. They're not trained to read labs like this. So talk about that in that way on Reels or TikTok videos or Facebook videos or your workshop or even podcast guests. But here's the catch. It's not perfect. Because I will see white blood cell counts in that good range, but yet their markers down here are not so good. Now you might ask as a practitioner, well, is it chronic or acute? I used to care about that. I don't now. It's just too much information to tell the patient. So just talk about infections. Okay. And typically, as far as an alarming level, I believe it's like 20. If the white blood cell count is over 20, the ordering physician better send them out for extra labs because then now you're looking at cancer or something horrible like that. I'm pretty sure that's the standard range is like 20, but your functional range is between 5 and 8. Okay. Infection. And then you tell people, you know what, this is the underlying cause of XYZ. This is why your thyroid medication isn't helping. This is why you're having to take a nap instead of go playing with your kids. This is why you have to know exactly where the bathroom is on your 20-minute drive from home to work. So when you get that urgency, you know where you can pull off. Make it about them and their situation. And then you can say to people, well, infections cause problems in every cell, every gland, every tissue, every organ, every system of the body. It's just a matter of where's your weak link? Where do your genetics say the problem should happen? It's the number one reason why you have all of these symptoms, yet nobody can give you any answers, aka a diagnosis. Because again, these infections attack every system, every organ, every gland, every tissue, every cell of the body. And they're very good at it. So when I get to this marker, and I'm explaining labs to a patient, I'm going to jump past all of this. I'm going to come back to it. So I'll say, okay, we're finding an infection. What kind of infection? And we jump down here. Okay, now this is where I change these lab ranges a bit. I want to see neutrophils above 60%. That's good. If it's less than 60, no, sorry, I told you wrong. If it's less than 60%, that's good. If it's above 60%, now we're fighting a bacterial infection. And when I see bacterial, I always, always, always treat fungal at the same time. You can't determine fungal infections on this specific lab, but chances are if they have bacterial infections, they're going to fight fungal, which is why so many people have reoccurring UTIs and reoccurring vaginal yeast problems, because it's a combination of the two. Okay. So we're looking at, say you get a lab test that comes back at 72%. That would be a bacterial infection. So my starting point for this would be from Systemic Formulas, Bactrex and FungDX. Bactrex is the bacterial component, FungDX is the fungal component, but they blend and they do both together. Okay. All right, what about a lab test of 68%? Or even a lab test of 88%, in which I have seen a handful of times? Bacterial infection. Fungal infection, always. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. We got neutrophils? Okay. Now we're going to go lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are a viral marker. And I want the number to be 30% or less. That's a good thing, usually. If it's above 30%, now we're talking a low-grade virus infection. It is the number one cause of autoimmune diseases. It is the number one cause of chronic fatigue. For viruses, I start with Vivi, and I add, which I probably already have done that, but DV3 to help the immune system with vitamin D. And that's a good starter point. With Vivi, I go 3 per day for 30 days, and then I back down to 1 per day for 30 days. That's 30%. Okay. All right, how are we following me? Neutrophils, 60% and above. Bacterial infection, always treat fungal at the same time. For Dr. Neal's dosage for Bactrex and FungDX, I typically do a 2-month process. So I would do 2 Bactrex in the morning, 2 Bactrex at night. Same thing with FungDX, 2 FungDX in the morning, 2 FungDX at night for the first month. And then I will back that and cut that dosage in half for month 2. Vivi for all viruses. Yep. An antiviral. And really, I can't tell you based off of that blood test specifically what type of virus it is. And people will say, well, what is it? You know, especially with COVID and around. It does get affected by Epstein-Barr virus, but the monocytes is even a better marker. And there are thousands of viruses out there. Some of them are great. Some of them are good for us. Some of them, when they get into too elevated levels, they become a problem. So I just say it's an antiviral. I don't know where it is in your body. I don't know what it is, and I don't care. Vivi is the attacker for all viruses. Okay. Worth being here for that tip. Yes. Okay. Patients, I'm guessing white blood cell count with the ABC, it's 5.0, but he has a UTI. Yeah, white blood cell count is 5.0. That's why I said it's not conclusive. It's an okay range. Always, always, always go down to that neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte, eosinophil, and basophil count. And then for UTIs, guys, here's a clinical pearl for you. UTIs are pretty awful. People get on antibiotics that can't kick those fast. So that's what I would recommend. It would be absolutely miserable to deal with UTI for multiple days at a time. So get on an antibiotic. Your place comes in tackling the reoccurring UTIs. Okay. So make sure they're getting their standard care for the current UTI, and then you're going to go in. And what I have found is the VRMs. So VRMs 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, I will gift you guys my protocol for that. So pay attention to your email list this afternoon. I will gift that to you because it's worked wonders for people who have reoccurring UTI problems. And it's a protocol that I can't just explain right here over this. Okay. And some of the protocols, yeah. What? I froze? Am I back now? I'm back now. What did you guys miss? What do you guys want to know? Because I kept talking. The last I said was VRMs. Froze after antibiotics. Okay. Dang it. Okay. The VRM protocol is what I use for the UTIs. These are reoccurring UTIs. So get on antibiotics for those who are in a UTI situation right now, because that is painful stuff. For reoccurring UTIs, you want to use the VRM protocol, and I will gift that to you in your email this afternoon. So pay attention. It's not something I can just talk about right here in a simple way. Okay. How am I now? Sweet. Okay. All right, here we go. Now remember, I said neutrophils at 60%. That's the key, okay? In fact, let's go here to make it easy for us all. And you see my whiteboard? Okay. Neutrophil count is at 60%. Lymphocyte count is at 30%. That is a 2-to-1 ratio. You with me? Now, when it starts to meet in the middle, this is what makes this lab test worth the price of gold. Literally. When it starts to meet in the middle, where we see like a 42% lymphocyte and a 44% neutrophil, or even a 42% and a 48% neutrophil. When you start to see that 1-to-1 ratio, we're getting into autoimmune flares. And now your patient is fighting autoimmune. That's driven by the virus because that's an elevated number. Okay, clinical pearl number 5,000. Because I want you guys to be successful. When you have autoimmune, I almost always treat viral, bacterial, and fungal. All three of them. Very rarely do I treat only a virus. These are infections that like to hang out together. So when conquering autoimmune, we're getting down to viral, bacterial, and fungal. And that's when it starts to approach the 1-to-1 ratio. Now, this is why I love to get labs from multiple years. When someone just gives me one set of labs, it's a little bit of a bummer sometimes if that one set of labs doesn't show me something good, like juicy inside this CBC. And the reason why is because, and I tell people this, they like it because I'm a fortune teller. Based off of the labs, I can say, oh, when you took this lab test 2 years ago, you probably had a great day. It was one of those days that you were able to get some cleaning done around the house and then still go pick up your kids. In fact, you remembered to go pick up your kids from school that day. That was a good day. But the day you took this lab 6 months ago, you felt like crap. It was not one of those good days. How the heck do you know that? Well, because the numbers, they don't ever lie. 2 years ago, your neutrophil count was 66%, and your lymphocyte count was 34%. 6 months ago, those are your numbers. So during that 6 month ago lab test, you were dealing with an autoimmune flare. Whereas 2 years ago, You're dominating. This is why I say I almost always treat the 3 of them because it's a combination of 3 more often than not. How are we on the range? That 1-to-1 ratio, that is golden. You will get more patients from that 1-to-1 ratio. You put that into a reel on Instagram or a video on TikTok. Nicole, put that in a video on TikTok. You will go viral within 24 hours. And be very, very, very simple with it. Okay, more examples of neutrophils and lymphocytes. Let's go back in here. Okay. What if I see a neutrophil count of, I get this question a lot, 34%, a lymphocyte count of we might have to go 52%, a monocyte count of 14. What if it's low? They ask. Okay. Now, if it's low, I don't care because something else has to be freaking high. And that's the lymphocyte count and the monocyte count, or one of the other two. And here's the reason why. All 5 of these, if we're going 60, 30, 7, 3, and then the basophil count for my world is 1. 60, 37, 3, 1. Not perfect because of the percentages, but it will add up always, always, always add up to 100%. So all 5 of these markers must add up to 100%, which is why if it's really low, 34%, something else must balance that out and be very elevated. Focus on that very elevated number. That's something else. Okay. Now, what if we have 78, 12, 16, and then we won't focus on these yet. I don't even think this is possible because those are too high. 78 would be my bacterial and fungal infection. And then monocytes is also virus. So a viral count. Again, bacterial, fungal, and viruses. That's going to be, when in doubt, just treat those 3. It'll work miracles for the patient. But really, anytime it gets within the 40s, neutrophils 40s and lymphocyte 40s, it's going to be the autoimmune 1-to-1 ratio. And the more you look at these, the more you'll get it. And it just becomes so super easy. Okay, Chantal, you bring up a very good point here. Let me use my whiteboard. Depending upon where you're at in the country, and I shouldn't say country, I should say the world, because 98% of labs taken in America will be the percentage values. On occasion, like Canada and Europe, you're going to get absolute values. Okay. Well, you guys are smart because you're all practitioners. So to take the absolute value and turn it into a percentage value, you're going to use this equation. You got to do a little bit of math. You're going to take the white blood cell count and you're going to divide it by like the neutrophil or the lymphocyte or the monocyte or whatever it is. Let me make sure, because sometimes I forget. And I flip those 2. So let's say the white blood cell count is 4.8. And let's say the neutrophil count is, in fact, I think I flipped this wrong, 0.6. And then you're going to times it by 100. And that will give you 86%. So then if the lymphocyte count is 2.1, we're going to divide it see, told you guys wrong. I knew it. So it's opposite. It's the neutrophil or lymphocyte divided by the white blood cell count. White blood cell count's on the denominator. So I had to do a couple math things to remember. So we have the neutrophil or lymphocyte or monocyte or eosinophil or basophil divided by that white blood cell count, and then times it by 100. You'll see that on occasion, really wherever you are. But I think in Canada, it's more common to have absolute values rather than percentage values. Okay, we'll get to the eosinophils and basophils. Yeah, Andrea, see, I always forget which way the numbers are too. Okay. Val had a client almost cry yesterday when I looked at her and told her she's more exhausted than she lets on, and she's really been sucking it up. Her numbers were screaming viral. Good for her. Good for you. Vivi, DV3, jack it up. What are eosinophils and basophils? Here we go. Are we good so far? Lymphocytes, monocytes, neutrophils. Again, monocytes, I didn't share the one thing about monocytes. It is virus. If you see monocytes over 7%, you're going to go virus. If it gets over like 12% or higher, chances are, and I will tell you, I say this to people, I would be willing to bet that if you went and got an Epstein-Barr virus test, it would come back positive. Now, in order to get that positive test, you are like exhausted to the point where it's extremely tiring to walk upstairs. But when you're floating at that 8, 9, 10%, you're still tired. You don't have the energy that you could have because your body's still fighting this low-grade virus. That's just fair. You'll have a lot of people who will tell you, oh, I got diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus at 18. I got diagnosed at 27 or whatever it is. And they've just never been the same since. We don't give the body the tools it needs to fight these guys. So that's monocytes, okay? Now, eosinophils and basophils. These are your parasite markers, okay? But before we get to parasites with eosinophils, check for food allergies and environmental allergies because they can be elevated, causing elevated eosinophil ranges. I will usually treat it as parasites because by the time people get to me, they've eliminated every dietary possibility under the sun. And my goal is to get them to eat food again. But if they haven't, if they're still pretty free with their diet and their eosinophil counts like at 7, have them do a food elimination diet first and then worry about the parasites. Basophils are the same thing, but my number is 1% or higher. Parasites. Okay, now there's 2 methods of treatment here. Systemic formulas method is the VRM protocol that I will share with you this afternoon. I prefer that method because it's not as intense as CellCore. CellCore or microformulas specializes in the parasite world. I would not recommend those DIY kits, DIY type style. So if you're working one-on-one with patients, feel free to go CellCore. If you want to do more giving them supplements to help themselves on their own, VRMs, but VRMs work great too. Okay. What do you do if their monocyte count is between 10 and 11? Vivi and DV3, it's not typically not elevated enough to say you could have a positive Epstein-Barr virus test. But again, a Epstein-Barr virus, to get a positive test, it has to be like so freaking high to elicit that positive test result. You can still have it, just it won't be active enough. And that's what I tell patients about viruses too. Clinical Pearl here. The virus. Okay. Viruses are going to come and go. So you'll see this again, why I love to get multiple sets of labs on the same individual, because you might have a virus count of 10. The next time it's at 7. The next time it's at 11.5. But it's when the viruses are more active. At the moment they got their blood drawn, what is the virus doing in their body at that exact moment? And then you can educate them like, hey, you start to have thyroid problems again, you start to feel sluggish and fatigue, that's the virus becoming more activated in your body. Go grab some Vivi, get that vitamin D back up. And that just becomes a tool in their toolkit that they can use 2, 5, 8, 10 years down the road. Mindy, if it is Epstein-Barr virus, treat it the same, Vivi and vitamin D. And just use the VRM protocol for 3 people with eosinophils. It works great. Yes, it does. I love it. Okay, guys, that's the CBC in a nutshell. Get in that chat box. Let me know if that was so super simple, stupid simple, that you guys can feel confident in teaching it tomorrow or utilizing it tomorrow or today even. Heck, it's only middle of the day. Stupid simple, yes. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So good. Great. Awesome. All right. How many of you feel confident that just that information I just taught you can change your patients' lives? And because of that, change your practice. And I'm telling you guys, don't be shy about social media. Get on there and teach this stuff. Hey, you got fibromyalgia? Go check this marker. It's the lymphocyte, or not the lymphocyte, the neutrophil marker. If your neutrophil marker is above 50%, chances are it's not fibromyalgia. It's a bacterial infection causing your joint pain and your sleep issues and your fatigue. Do that as a real, I dare you. Tell me what happens tomorrow when you release launch it. And if you guys are curious about how to take all this and put it into social media stuff, join me on social media, especially TikTok, even though I'm not very active on there anymore, but go through my TikTok videos and you can see examples of it. Okay. Okay. Now, I just taught you the CBC. What if I could teach you every lab test from thyroid, lipid panel, iron panel, metabolic panel, hormones? In fact, let's make hormones so simple. What could happen to your practice, your patients' lives, if you knew how to take the blood work they already have, transform it into real answers, healing, and hope? Who's interested? If I could teach you all of that stuff. Lexi's up, Dr. Ange is up. Kiku, Val. Okay, Val is that. All right, y'all. Here's the next opportunity. Let's take what you just learned and let's compound it so you can get better results faster. We're going to do a master blood work live event, June 29th. That is 1 week from today. You and I are going to sit on this on a different Zoom link, but we're going to get together on this virtual platform for 4.5 hours. We're going to bust it out. Every single lab that your patients already have, you will become the expert in. And just like today, I will give you clinical pearls on everything, what you're going to see, what you're going to not see, and even some protocols to get you started. And some cases in which you can practice with. Okay. Now, because of the amazingness that happens to your practice and your patients after you know how to become this lab expert. The price tag for this event is $1,200 investment. Okay. But I guarantee, because I know how powerful this lab stuff is, that if you come join me next week on June 29th, you will make more money than that $1,200 in the next 30 days by just implementing this blood work, these labs. Angela, am I kidding you? I'm not kidding. Dr. Alexi, she's already gotten patients doing this stuff. Okay. So the place to join, it's a brand new page. We just finished it. Is right here at drkylieburton.com/masterclass. This is where you get all of the details and where you register. Now, because this is a live event, it is of course awesome if you can join me live where you'll be able to ask all your questions. But if you can't make it live, that's totally okay. You will get access to the recordings for life. So you will be able to go back and rewatch it and practice and all the things that you need to be successful with this on June 30th or whenever you have time to watch the recordings. So don't hesitate to join us, even if you can't make us live. Okay. Yes, Dr. Shane is saying super valuable as well. Okay. So go to drkylieburton.com/masterclass and we will tackle every single piece of the blood work, just like we did that CBC. For $1,200, you will make more than that in the next 30 days. I guarantee it. Okay. Now, June 29th from 1 p.m. to 5:30 is the time of that 4.5-hour event. We're going to do 2-hour sessions with a 30-minute gap in between. Then June 30th, the very next day, so it's going to be Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we're going to do the Q&A session. So I'm going to teach you all of the blood work you need to know, plus amazing clinical pearls, and then come back after you've been able to sit on it for a day and come ask me any question that you have. That will be happening Thursday, June 30th from 2 p.m. to 3:30, just like this workshop is right now, Eastern. So that's 12 to 1:30 my time and Mountain Standard Time. Okay. Dr. Ange, would you mind coming on and sharing a little bit about your experience? So you're blowing up the chat here, so let me bring you in. All right, y'all. Dr. Ange is in Texas?
No, I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, but you were in a conference in Texas. That's why I
Yes.
have Texas linked to your name.
Lots of friends in Texas.
Okay,
Yeah.
give us a little background about where you were, where you are, and where you're going because of this blood work stuff.
So much to say. So I've been practicing for over 12 years as a naturopath, and I work really hard and spend a lot of time on every patient. And when I stumbled upon Kylie, one of her podcasts, I was hooked instantly. Like I just found, and I will say, think about why you were hooked into this, because other people are going to be too. So we can teach so many people. And literally in the last 2 months, I've transformed the way I practice. I charge more, and people aren't even thinking twice about it. And even if they did, so I charge more than double what I did. And even if I have a little less, I'm still making more money and I'm not working as hard. So the information is valuable. If you haven't seen her protocols, they really do work. And even to take her protocols, and if you have things you love, incorporate it in, or if you have a practice where people are coming into, like I do, we incorporate a lot of this. We are all about, we focus on weight loss, so a wellness to weight loss approach. So being able to tie some of these simple protocols into that and really teaching people how to learn how to like read their own labs. I mean, I've been invited to speak at chiropractor offices. I'm hosting my own events. and people are eating it up. You can do it live, you can do it on Zoom, you can do a Facebook Live, whatever you want. But this has been such a game changer for me in my practice. There's nothing bad I could say at all. It's been wonderful.
I'm telling you guys, it's not just me, and it's not just my practice, it's Angie's.
Yeah.
In fact,
Right.
Dr. Steven was telling me on a Facebook message beforehand that he just launched a $6,600 program about labs, and he hasn't even learned all the labs yet. So take this, what I just taught you, and run with it. Like, I kid you not. If you're worried about the finances, post something on tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. in your time. That is the sweet spot of social media time. Don't post any other time. It's worthless. Post between 7 and 8 p.m. on social media time, your time zone. Talk about the labs that I just taught you, literally in the 30-second reel. You will have more patients next week because of it. So, and it doesn't matter if you're a massage therapist, naturopath, chiropractor, MD, NP, like it doesn't matter your background, even a registered dietitian. People are begging for this information and you can give it to them. So thank you, Angela. All right. I'm not finding your name to pull the spotlight off. Okay. Again, that's drkylieburton.com/masterclass. And I saw someone post it here in the chat. So grab that link. The doors will be closing on Tuesday of next week because it is a live event on Wednesday of next week. So you have till June 28th to get in. If you know of somebody who can utilize this, don't hesitate to take this recording and share it with them. Okay, but who is thinking about joining me next Wednesday? Get in that chat box. Let me know. $1,200, the best investment you'll ever make. Promise. Yes. Okay. drkylieburton.com/masterclass. All right. That being said, do you guys have questions? And yes, Nicole, it's included for you. Yeah. So here's the legal things that I know you guys are thinking about already. Okay. Now, if you listen to my podcast, I will tell you and I will tell everybody, I don't treat diagnoses. I don't treat symptoms. Say that too, because now people are like, oh my gosh, then what the heck do you treat? Okay. I don't treat diagnoses. I don't treat symptoms. I treat you as a whole person. Your body is made up of organs, cells, tissues, glands, systems, and they all interact together. So I'm going to help you go from where you are now. We're going to go on this true healing journey to where you want to be. And what determines that healing journey for you is what I find inside your blood work. Because as I see, and you guys can steal this, I'm telling you exactly what I tell people, whether it be social media, whether it be a workshop, whatever it is. To go from where you are now to where you want to be, it's going to require your body healing in a true healing journey. What that is required for you is determined inside your blood work. So you might get in your blood work and you might find you have bacterial, viral, and fungal infections. You might find you have adrenal fatigue, which I'll teach you with the metabolic panel. You might find that your bad cholesterol is just another sign of your thyroid issues. In fact, you can take thyroid people that are like, oh, I just want to be on some simple thyroid problem, but yet turn them into something really valuable. Okay. That's that. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to email me. Dr. Kylie here's my email. This is my direct email that I don't give away often, but here it is. dr.kyburton@gmail.com. Okay. Melissa, if you're in the BTD Mastermind Lab Expert course, you get a discount on it. So just send me an email. Okay, if you have any questions, send me an email. All right, guys? Next week, June 29th and June 30th. So that way you have everything you need. You can go escape for July 4th weekend, come back, and you can have the best summer your practice has ever had. Blow it up and blow it up for years to come. Okay? And just like Ange said, take this and run with it. And then you're now the expert. Make your prices to reflect that. You are more valuable. Now you don't just get to talk about nutrition. Now you don't just get to talk about XYZ that everybody else is talking about. Now you get to have personalized plans with individuals that will make your life so much easier setting up a treatment plan. Not only is it easier setting up the treatment plan, but now you have more confidence in doing so because you know exactly what those numbers said, which tell you the exact process. And on that call next week, on that event, I will teach you my 5-step method because you'll see a lot of what I call puzzle pieces inside those labs. When do you use those puzzle pieces at what point of the journey? Okay. So mark your calendars, June 29th from 1 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and then June 30th is the Q&A, and that is from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., just like this workshop is. And yes, all will be recorded. You will have access to some special goodies inside the portal, including protocols, including examples to try. And then the next 90-day program will start in the 1st of August because July is just a heavy vacation period. So worry about the labs first, master the labs first, and then, Val, increase your prices because I promise you, you will get better results with your patients. That's all part of the mindset problem coming in. Okay. All right. You guys, I promise you, if you're having dilemmas with prices and people saying yes to your problems, we need to add in the blood work so they're more valuable. And 2, we need to get your money mindset up because they have money for what they value. They have money for a $1,200 iPhone in every 2 years. People will have money for what they value. Help them value their health and show them that you're not guessing anymore. Just like everybody else that they've been to that, oh, well, this naturopath thought it was my thyroid, so they gave me an NP thyroid. You guys know the story. You are now the expert and they trust in it. I promise you. Dr. Ange has seen it. Dr. Alexi has seen it. Nicole's already seen it. Dr. Steven's already seen it on this call. So people will always value and pay for what they value. Make their health part of that equation. And if they say no, it's not because your prices aren't right. It's because they don't value their health enough yet. They will. See, you guys just got to hang out with our me more. You'll all be like, I'm raising my prices right now. In fact, I had a podcast episode I recorded last week with an individual. And afterwards, I was like, we talked about money. It was all about money, and which will come out in the fall. And I was like, I'm stepping up into my new power and I'm going to go get my eyelashes done. I've been wanting to do it for 6 months. I finally made a phone call, went and did it, and I love them. So don't hesitate. People will always have money for what they value. Make their health a priority. And if they say no, it's not about your prices, it's about their values. They're not there yet. Okay, I know. I love my eyelashes. Makes my life so much easier in the mornings. Okay, any questions about labs and about the CBC? As we got like 15 more minutes here, I want to make sure you guys feel so confident in what you just learned that you can teach it on the next workshop or teach it on a reel or TikTok video. Don't leave this session without having so great knowledge about that CBC. We're just doing the CBC today, Val. Margaret, so when I was in Florida last week, I had somebody like put on eyelash extensions. I laid down in this chair for 3 hours with my eyes closed and everything was taped. And they did like, I don't know what they did, but they took extensions and they glued them or tied them to my current lashes. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Lauren Nelson, do you have a system with how to order labs? Good question. Love that. Yes, Melissa, I'll get to in just a second. So when you're ordering labs, there's a couple of different places you can order them from. And it doesn't matter your background, guys. I have people who are massage therapists ordering labs. And the reason why we can do this now is because the lab companies have ordering physicians on hand. They're the ones that are licensed and ordering it. You're just sending in the request, basically. Okay. So walk-in labs is a popular one. Walk-in labs. Lexi Virtual Clinic, is that? Put it in the chat box if you wouldn't mind. Another one is Rupa Health. I just set up an account with them actually at Rupa Health. GCD. Okay, they have one. I just wouldn't go through Pampa because he makes money off of it. So go through ones that you make money off of them. Jen will put the recording on YouTube and then I will post that link, send it out to your email, send it out to social media where people can access that recording on YouTube. So we'll be coming there, but you have to have the link to watch it. Okay. All right, Melissa, I'm going to bring you in.
Quick question. So as far
Hi,
as
by the way.
hi, how are you?
You're in Boston, right?
Huh?
You're in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Love the Massachusetts. So for the MTHFR, I know that's like a big thing around a lot of like parents and stuff. So I know you said Moores and 16B if they need the B vitamins. Now, as far as like the genetic mutation, is there anything else that we need to kind of explain to them with the MTHFR? Because I know it has a lot to do with like how you detox certain things too. So the Moores would help with all of that, or is it just for processing the vitamins, the B vitamins?
Moores is going to help with all of it. And here's the thing with MTHFR, it's just a piece. It's like one piece of the entire system, one piece of the puzzle. So what I do is Moores, and people will, like Angela said, when they get on Moores and like, this is amazing stuff, they can just stay on Moores. And it's something simple like 2 capsules a day is really all they need, or even like 1 full dropper if you want to do the liquid version.
And how young can you give it to them?
I have given it to toddlers, but I would do liquid version and I would only do like a 1/4 dropper. I would make the dosage pretty small. And I haven't had anybody really complain about the taste of it either. I mean,
No.
it is alcohol based. So sometimes if you need to throw it in, like especially for little kids, throw it into a 1/2 cup of water and dilute it. That will work. And Nicole, yes, Moores is out of stock, unfortunately. Homocysteine TLR. Let me put that in the chat. That is the replacement for now. That one
Is it from
specific.
Systemic too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, systemic products.
Thank you.
Yes. Are you using labs yet in your practice?
I have started, but so I'm not like separating it. So I'm wondering if I should separate it as like something different
Combine
or
it.
just put.
No, combine it in all of your services. So when you guys are thinking about how do I put this in my practice, whatever you're doing now, just add this to it. It makes your packages more valuable.
Do you put
So
it for
now-
your initial consult?
You can do it as your initial consult. It's very powerful. Yes.
Okay.
But I know you're muscle testing too. So you can add in the muscle testing, you can add in the blood work, and that's just more puzzle pieces to their health and their health story. And now instead of someone, like, I don't know if you ever get this, but if they're like, I'm not so sure about this whole muscle testing thing, like the labs take the voodoo out of it because the numbers never lie. They're there. You can even say, take the numbers in the muscle test. Is it a bacterial infection? Is it a viral infection? You can muscle test all that stuff too. But just combine it to whatever you're doing. Take all of your services, all of the tools in your toolkit, combine it and put it into your program. And now maybe your $3,500 program becomes a $6,500 program because you're able to add in these duplicated services.
Okay. Yeah. Now I just need to go
Yeah.
on social media.
Just pick one platform on social media because it's overwhelming. Just do one until you start to build that one platform.
Okay. Thank you.
And beware of TikTok. You can blow up on TikTok, and you will when you start talking labs, but people are rude. Just beware. Okay, cool. Love it, Melissa.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm going to do my first TikTok today. Dr. Angela, tag me in it. Because then your video will hit all of my audience, which is like 70,000 strong, and I haven't been on it for 2 months. So tag me in it, and then all those followers. You guys, if you're getting on TikTok, put a video on, tag my name on that video, and it will automatically hit all my audience. Yes, blew up with just talking about thyroid labs. Yep, that's what happens, Sarah. Wait till you start talking about like all the other labs too. It's fun. And that platform is so fun to look at. Like I was always amazed. Like I have another video going viral right now. It's just fun. Just don't look at the comments because people are idiots. Okay. Let me go back into the chat box here. Getting great results. Yes, it takes the bridge gaps, takes that bridge, makes it more concrete. Jennifer, what suggestions do you have for someone starting an online practice as far as making a program with this? All right, y'all are live with me, so here we go. Okay. Now, from a starting position, if you have a really warm audience, like I do from my podcast and my social media, what I would do is their first step is what I would call the second lab opinion consult. Now, this is the new patient report of findings smashed into one. I charged $495 for that. In fact, if you're on this call and you're charging like less than $300 for that initial consultation, it needs to go up. Melissa's smiling. Melissa needs to go up. And I tell you this because one, now you're the expert. And two, people value that. They see more value in it. So you're going to get better clientele. You're going to get better patients who are going to listen to you more. Okay. So this is the first step. Now, that's if you have a really warm audience. What if you're going from a cold audience, like someone who's not so familiar with you? I would do a discovery call as the first step. And on that discovery call, you can make it free, but be very careful. People will just take advantage of that free. So what I would do is to book the discovery call. It's a $50 down payment that can be attributed to your services early on, or just make the call $49. To schedule your discovery call, it's $49. Okay, then from that discovery call, you're going to what we call pitch this. Okay, so on that discovery call, it's 15 minutes. You say, when I used to do these, the question I would ask people to start the conversation was this: when was the last time you felt good? You ask that question to them, they'll start the journey of their health process. Well, it was 3 years ago after I had my third kid, or you know what, I don't remember last time it was when I felt good. And then another key question to ask is, what are your 3 biggest health concerns? Get it minimal and make sure that you can help with those 3 health concerns. And if you're using the blood work, you're not going to hesitate anymore. Like I said, I don't care about diagnoses. I don't care about symptoms. I want to make sure that your body has what it needs to heal. And then as it does that, your symptoms are just going to start going away. And when your symptoms go away, the diagnosis is resolved too. So what the funniest question y'all ask, what causes this? Gets us into a trap because we really don't know what causes XYZ. I can guess, I can be my best guess. But oftentimes it's going to be multiple faceted. What causes a migraines? We don't have a specific answer to that. What causes SIBO? We don't really have a specific answer to that. Or RA or whatever it is. So when you talk to patients, say on this discovery call, it sounds like, quote, use this is what I would say. It sounds like what you've tried hasn't worked for you in the past very well, and you're just sick of guessing. In fact, bring this up. If you were to guess, how much money have you spent on your health so far? Oh, I've spent $50,000. Oh, I've spent 100,000. I've spent my entire retirement. I spent my life savings. I spent $2,000. Whatever the answer is, make them quantify it and then say, where has it gotten you? Especially for people who are like, do you take insurance? No, I don't take insurance. Don't say that. But you say, insurance doesn't take me because I get you out of the system. And then they're like, oh my gosh, she's right. So make them quantify how much money they've spent and where it's gotten them. Okay. And then you give your next opportunity. I phrase that very carefully. You're not selling them anything. You are inviting them into an opportunity. And as soon as you make that mindset shift, at least it did for me, it's like, oh, now I can sell the world because I'm inviting them into an opportunity that's going to better their life. And because their health is better, their kids' relationships, their spouse, the relationship with their spouse, I mean, it just has a trickling effect. And you can bring that up. How has your health affected your relationship with your spouse? Well, we're on the verge of divorce. How has your relationship affected the way you've been a mom to your kids? Let me help you be that mom you dreamt of being. Because it's not about you, it's about what your body's fighting. And then you say this. It sounds like, oh wait, first off, before you get into that, ask them about blood work. Has your doctor taken a lot of blood work on you in the last few years? Oh my gosh, I have so much blood work, but they always tell me it's normal. Great. What if we could use that blood work and turn it into real answers? Now you're saving time, you're saving money, and you're saving grief, really. We're going to use the blood work that your doctor already has and it's already used on you to get you real results. Now, the way I do this, I'm telling you exactly how I would have this conversation with people, is I'm going to have you send me all that blood work that you have. So very rarely do I order new blood work. In fact, I couldn't tell you the last time I ordered blood work. I just get what they already have. Whether it was 6 years ago, 6 months ago, as long as you had blood work from them the time that they were, quote, sick. Okay. Then, Melissa, you're going to charge like $350 for this lab consultation. Be brave and go $495. Okay. Okay, so we're going to use the blood work that you already have. You're going to send it to me. And then I'm going to take it'll take me about a week, maybe 2 weeks to read over it and create you a specific plan based off of how you feel and what your labs tell me. Then we're going to meet together for 45 minutes, maybe an hour on a live Zoom call right here. People love Zoom, guys. Heck, I've even had people just do a phone call with it, but it's a lot better to do the lab review on a Zoom call so you can share your screen and they can see those numbers. We're going to meet on a virtual Zoom call. As soon as that's done, I will reach out to you or my assistants will reach out to you as soon as I have your blood work read and your plan created. Or you can do it as soon as you have the blood work, you can schedule them then, depending on how far out you schedule. We'll meet for that hour where I'm going to walk you through everything that I found and the plan I have for you. And then boom, it's $495. Is that okay with you? And then shut up. Let them say yes before you start mumbling because you're nervous about the answer. Lay out the number and let them say yes. Okay, now when you get on to that second lab opinion consult, which is really what it is, because someone else has already read the lab specific first. I'm just going to use the same markers, the same labs to get better results. Okay, then on that program or call, live call, That's where you pitch your program, where you invite them into the next opportunity, whether that be a 3-month program or a 6-month program, maybe 12 months even. If a patient doesn't decide to start, do you give them a copy of your treatment plan? I don't have very many people say no, but there are times where they just need to do like a supplement DIY type style, where they can buy all the supplements from you and walk through their path on their own. But Dr. Stephen, I will caution you about that, and everybody listening, you will get a lot of emails in which you will not get paid for. I made that mistake numerous times. Don't let them off the hook by just getting their supplement plan. I don't even care if it's $500 for a follow-up consultation plus unlimited email access. Yeah. Unless you want to waste your time answering a lot of emails, because they will send you emails, don't do it. Tanya, do you charge the same $4.95 when they retest? Totally up to you. For sure. Yeah, they'll take you advantage of you. Correct. And again, people have money for what they value. Okay. Basic question. I've hesitated starting one client on the bacterial viral protocol because she struggles with elimination. We're trying to work on that first, but I also know the infections can be impacting that and will naturally improve. Elimination meaning food sensitivities. Val, where are you? Would you mind coming on? Let's chat. Val, can you unmute yourself? Okay. All right, guys. I see a couple people heading out. That's totally cool. Don't forget next week, June 29th, and then June 30th is the follow-up. Okay. Bowels. Yeah, so I would just start the elimination, because the Bactrex and the Fungi-X are going to help that smooth process. You can add in things like lymphatic support. You can do massage lymphatics as well. But I really get those bowels going with the Bactrex and the Fungi-X. That's why I include it first. So they do the support phases to make sure their body's ready for it, and then they do that elimination. Does that help? She struggles pooping. Yep, there you go. Get Bactrex and Fungi-X in there, and that will eliminate the quote SIBO or SIFO. Okay. All right. I saw a couple more questions in here. If I didn't get to your question, don't hesitate to email me. Laurie, email me because I can help you walk through that. But more importantly, we can talk about creating those programs on the next event next week, and then even into the 90-day program. That's where we do a lot of the business stuff and the mindset stuff. So yes, Val, add bind in too. What's your point to know when to branch out from one social media to more? Okay, so start with one. When you are starting to have clients coming in from that, then go two. Until you can get clients from the first one, don't branch out. Now, that being said, you can also do like an Instagram post and automatically have that Instagram post feed over to Facebook. So you can do that way as well. When it comes to social media, what avenues do you choose, Melissa? Identify where your audience is. And then for me, I like Facebook because it's easy to me. That's where I've been personally for so many years. So it's just easier to me. So I do, right now I do TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are my three. Now, well, typically if I'm creating a video on TikTok, yes, definitely be between 7 and 9 p.m. Don't post on TikTok at other times. You will get this minimal following. You will blow up between those hours, because the TikTok algorithm is designed within that first 30 to 60 minutes. If nothing happens within that first hour, they're shutting that video down. No, Systemic Formulas is not on full script. If you need to reach out to them, which you all should if you don't have an account, Their phone number is 801-621-8840. You will talk to Matt or you can talk to Mike. Okay, yes, you'll be getting a link to the recording. In fact, I'm going to stop the recording right now. Don't forget, guys, June 29th, June 30th, let's learn all of the blood work so you can take it and run and blow your practice up. And like Angela said, work less, make more, have more impact, have more freedom, have more income.